Hello there, it's good to have you here. I'm the Last Mikester and welcome back to the channel for some new content that isn't Primal Carnage Extinction, finally. In this video we will be taking a look at the early access dino shooter Second Extinction. Now I know the words early access strike fear into the hearts of even the bravest gamers, almost as much as the words microtransactions. No! It's because of the sometimes terrifying nature of early access that I decided to delve into this particular game, and also, you know, dinosaurs. Only in this game they are all mutated and evil. Well, maybe not evil, but they are certainly out for your blood, and also the blood of your friends, because Second Extinction can be a co-op game if you so choose. It's limited to 3 people at the moment, and while that is a bit of a shame, it has honestly never really affected my enjoyment of the game negatively at all. Second Extinction was developed and published by Systemic Reaction, a company whose other main game on Steam is Generation Zero. The game launched as an early access title on October 13th, 2020, and if my memory serves me well, which it rarely does admittedly, I started playing around a couple months after release. At this point in time, I have 118 hours put into the game, and have played all of the modes at least a few times in both solo and co-op. It's been an interesting journey so far, and the game has had its fair share of ups and downs. For starters, as you may have been able to tell, even with YouTube's awful compression, the game looks great, and the graphics are a huge plus, along with the performance, as I usually average 45 to 60 FPS on high settings with a 1050 Ti graphics card, even with lots of dinos around. Onto the selection of modes, of which there are 3. Well, really 1 with some minor differences. The first is campaign mode, where you choose a mission, pick your character class, and take a drop pod into hell on earth. Speaking of our big blue ball of a home, apparently in this universe dinosaurs have decided a blockbuster film franchise of breaking fences, eating people, and giving Alan Grant nightmares wasn't enough. And just said screw it and took over the world, or at least this part of the world.
They came from nowhere. We called it the invasion, but it was annihilation.
I don't know if it's supposed to be the Arctic or Canada or something, but I hope you like blizzards and snow, because this is the only map currently in the game. The devs have mentioned that a new map is on the priority list, but as of right now, you're gonna have to settle with freezing your everything off. So, back to the campaign mode, where you'll be given objectives over radio from a character named Sarah, whose voice I initially liked, but after 100 hours has started to get on my nerves a little bit. The missions are usually stuff like, oh no, everyone's dead, better go finish what they couldn't because now they have no spleen, or go steal some eggs, I'm sure that won't piss off the local fauna at all, toodaloo.
Oh no, it looks like the Rex is home.
What?
It's fairly simple stuff, but you do get some variety with a mission like this one called Charged Extraction, where the dinosaurs have taken over an old mine and turned it into a hive. This mission in particular is one where the game truly gets to shine. It's just terrifying, but also fun and quite unique. Now, there is no true end to the campaign. It's really just a small collection of missions loosely tied together in a semi-coherent way. It's not bad or anything. The main form of story and lore you get is through dialogue from Sarah over the radio and voice notes left by people who got ripped into 1,000 pieces. Decent writing, but also not something to write home about. On these missions, you'll notice side objectives scattered around the map, and you can pretty much do as many or as little of these as you want, but I prefer to tackle them in the second mode, which is free roam. It works exactly like the campaign missions, with the only difference being that you have no main objective, and instead just get to explore the map and look for things to blow up or shoot. You can even pull a Minecraft and punch things out of existence. Doing side missions will earn you rewards, of course, which we'll get to in a sec. This is the mode that I have spent the most time in, and it can be a lot of fun to wander the frozen landscapes by yourself or with a couple friends, causing chaos around every corner.
That's chaos, dude.
Speaking of chaos, the third option is Horde mode, which if you've played, any zombie game ever made, then you pretty much know what to expect. Your ship has crashed because technology only works for so long, and now you have to survive the waves of incoming dinos who somehow all know where you are, and are hell-bent on ruining your day through some disastrously detrimental dismemberment. While you're fighting for your life, sexy British man
Amazing. You did it. No wonder they always call you heroes up here.
is working on sending a dropship to pick you up, and you can choose to leave at wave 10 or keep going. It's a blast to play, and while it's a lot of the same stuff as the other 2 modes, you know, dino corpses all over the place, limbs flying everywhere, and plenty of explosions and gunfire, it still hasn't gotten old for me. The combat and movement is very Doom-like, and while I haven't played that game yet, yes, it's on the list, and yes, I plan on making a video on it, I get the gist of what it's like from the videos I've seen on it. The controls are generally pretty responsive, and the hit detection is super solid. solid. As far as leveling up and cosmetics and all that, I quite like the system they got going on here. When you complete missions, open reward boxes, and kill dinosaurs, of course, you'll get research and materials, which can then be used to upgrade your weapons through a nice little set of options, with each weapon having different areas of focus, like damage and crit, and different upgrades with things like making the shotgun fire flame rounds when you hold down primary fire, very badass, giving the carbine rifle some Black Widow poison capabilities, and even the machine gun getting smart ammo, which tracks enemies when firing from the hip. And yes, all of this stuff is earned in-game, thank the Lord. Weapon skins are earned through contracts, which are either seasonal or individual, and are essentially mini-missions you can take on to kill X amount of Y with a certain weapon, stuff like that, although every weapon skin basically just turns red before long due to the dinosaurs bleeding all over you. There are also armor augments, which provide mostly defensive bonuses like health buffs and sending a small shockwave out when you are at low health. Then we have the characters in the game, all with their own unique abilities and all fitting different roles in combat. There are a couple more minor things, like being able to select your equipment, which includes different throwables like grenades, firecrackers, and ammo kits, along with support drops, which include things like airstrikes, mine seeding, and a shockwave creator, beautifully named the Thumper. Supply drops can also harm or kill dinosaurs, which is just hilarious, but they can also send you flying too, so watch out. New weapon and equipment options are unlocked by leveling up, which basically just translates to... Then we have the whole threat level system, which was the main selling point upon release. Basically, there are several different regions on the map, and by completing stuff within each one, you contribute to bringing down its threat level and pushing the dinosaurs back. It's a community thing, so everyone is a part of influencing how dangerous the map is, and it changes every week. While it's not a super complex system by any means, it's certainly interesting to see everyone's dino-slaying escapades affect the map. If the community does well, you'll see more of these low-threat areas where the dinos have less of a presence. If nobody does anything, you'll see more medium and high-threat areas, culminating with emergence events, which means shit has really hit the fan. The high-threat and emergence areas are covered in a nasty-ass green fog, which could either be acid clouds or dino farts, take your pick. There will be a much heavier dinosaur presence here, including some big boys. The camps and extraction points will also have less supplies and are covered in some green goo, which, while being rather nasty looking, can be solved by some good old science. Or just punch it, that works too. Now, last on the list are the words Early Access. Now, while Second Extinction has had less problems than I expected it to, and is far less buggy than many other games, even AAA titles, it still has its fair share of problems, minor things like audio bugs and dinosaurs getting stuck in Horde mode, but recently I experienced a rather alarming problem where the whole game just kinda broke. Basically, this camp where you resupply at seemed to get half of itself stuck in the Matrix and turned into, well, whatever this is, which meant I couldn't stock up on ammo. However, things got a lot worse when I reached the extraction point, which is normally where you would leave the map after you're done a campaign mission or done exploring in free roam, where you activate this thing and summon the dropship, and then you need to survive the dinos one last time for anywhere from 1 minute to 3 or so, depending on the threat level of the region where you are extracting from. Only this time, the activation point was completely gone, so I couldn't extract, which meant losing around an hour and a half of progress. Annoying, to say the least. The game isn't riddled with bugs, at least for me, but they are still definitely there. The devs have also mentioned that they aren't going to release another major update to the game until full release, only urgent bug fixes. As far as I know, they plan on updating the game on the day that it exits early access, and they haven't given a time for when that will happen as of yet. While I do wish that there was going to be another big update before full release, it will be neat to get some new stuff on that day. However, that update needs to be a banger, and I would be very disappointed if there wasn't a new map, as I think that's the most needed thing right now. It would go a long way in terms of shaking things up, and if it came with new dinos, like a swamp map with moss-covered raptors jumping out of the marshes, I don't know man, just go crazy and have fun with it. There needs to be a huge haul of content in order to justify a full release, because in my opinion the game just isn't quite there yet in terms of content. It's close, but there's still a little ways to go. The game is currently sitting at an asking price of $30 Canadian with tax, or your regional equivalent, and that's about $10 more than I think it's worth. worth at the moment. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy the game a lot, but there just isn't $30 worth of content here. $20? Yeah, I think so. With that, I would recommend buying the game, but my advice is to wait for a sale, and it does go on sale occasionally. I have seen it at about $22 before, which I think is pretty reasonable. The main thing I'm hoping for is that the update that comes with the exit of the game from early access is awesome, as I think Second Extinction truly deserves to become one of the best dinosaur gaming experiences out there, and while it's very fun, especially with friends, we still got a ways to go before hitting a home run with this one. Thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then consider giving it a like and subscribing. If you are subscribed, then hit that bell so you don't miss any new videos. I always appreciate the support. Much love, take care, and until next time, have a good one.